This is Optimal Health Daily, episode 999. 2 weird arm exercises you should start doing, by John Romaniello of RomanFitnessSystems.com. And I'm Dr. Neil Malik, reading you some of the most popular health and fitness blogs out there, with permission from the websites, of course. Now, to hear a lot more blogs being narrated to you for free, check out all of our shows. Just search for Optimal Living Daily wherever you're hearing this. Now, what I like about today's post is John recommends exercises that you can perform with very little or no equipment at all. Items you can find around your house will do just fine. So, why not use these days of social isolation and quarantine to get our arms beach ready? Hey, the beaches have to open up again someday, right? So with that, let's get right to today's post as we optimize your life. 2 weird arm exercises you should start doing, by John Romaniello of RomanFitnessSystems.com. When I take on a new batch of coaching clients, before this whole COVID thing, I've come to realize that a lot of people don't know what the hell I'm talking about when I design their workouts. While most of my clients have a decent training background, a lot of programs they've done are pretty basic. Now, it's not that there's anything wrong with that. You can get great results from basic programming that focuses mostly on compound lifts and bicep curls. But despite the claims of some, that's not going to work all of your muscles to their fullest potential. So, I'm going to have to get these guys and gals used to some funky new exercises. And because I truly love some of these exercises, I think you'll get a lot out of them too. In this post, I'm going to share just 2 of my favorite arm exercises that I try to work into the programs of my coaching clients as frequently as possible. First, the Y press. This variation of the overhead press ends up with you looking like a Y, hence the name. You press your arms out to 45 degrees instead of straight up. By doing this, you put your arms in a mechanically weaker position. Gravity is pulling the weights down, and your arms are in the weakened state, having to work not to fall out laterally. This stimulates you in a way that a traditional overhead press doesn't. Now go light here. Start with dumbbells so light you're almost embarrassed, and try 15 reps. While you're not likely to build large delts with this exercise, it's fantastic for shoulder stability in all of your overhead lifts, which can help increase muscular development overall in the long run. And it's doubly great as a warm-up. Supercharging tip. To really activate the itty-bitty muscles like the infraspinatus and supraspinatus as stabilizers, hold for 1 second at the top of the movement. 2. The Zottman curl. The Zottman curl falls under a category of exercises known as compound isolation movements. This means that one phase of the movement is a compound movement, and the other phase is more of an isolation exercise. I've written about compound isolation movements before, and I think they're great for both strength and mass. The first factor to consider is the number of muscles involved. Unless you have some very bizarre strength imbalance, you'll be able to use much more weight for a compound movement than you could for an isolation movement, assuming that both lifts use the same primary mover. Another factor that we must take into account is eccentric or negative strength, which can be up to 175% greater than concentric strength. Although it has been shown that generally, eccentric strength is closer to 50 to 75% greater than concentric strength in most non-elite trainees. Compound isolations come as a result of these 2 factors. We know that you're stronger in a compound movement than an isolation movement. We also know that you're stronger negatively than you are positively. So, in order to put this knowledge to some muscle building use, we change it up. That is, you perform a compound movement concentrically and then switch in the middle and execute the eccentric portion of an isolation exercise that relies on the same primary mover. Because of the mechanical advantages inherent to each part of the lift, you'll be able to use a weight that is significantly challenging in both the positive and negative phases of the exercise. A Zottman curl is a hybrid of a traditional dumbbell curl and a reverse curl. In the case of a Zottman curl, the bicep curl, which is generally considered an isolation exercise, serves as the compound movement because it involves the biceps as well as the brachialis and brachioradialis. The reverse curl mostly focuses on the brachioradialis or forearm muscle. Again, you can almost certainly curl more than you can reverse curl, but you can probably lower a great deal of weight in the negative phase of a reverse curl. A Zottman curl allows you to do both. This exercise is a great substitution for just about any biceps exercise, but is really phenomenal for building forearm and grip strength, which in turn will allow for greater biceps development. Supercharging tip. If you really want to take your arm, especially forearm growth, to the next level, try Zottman's curl with fat grips on the dumbbells. Killer. You just listened to the post titled 2 Weird Arm Exercises You Should Start Doing by John Romaniello of RomanFitnessSystems.com. Now, I'll have some of my comments as usual, but first, have you ever felt helpless when your kids refuse to give up their mobile devices? With KiwiCo, that will be a problem of yesterday. KiwiCo is a monthly subscription box for kids, tested by kids. I gifted the Tinker Crate to my nephew, where he had to build a sling to learn about physics and air resistance. The project pieces were of high quality, made to create real engineering, science, and art experiences for children. And the best part, he didn't ask for my iPad again. I was surprised how much he loved it and would love to invite you and your kids to work on a KiwiCo project together. Your child will also be getting fun, hands-on art and science projects delivered to your door every month. There is zero commitment, so you're free to pause or cancel anytime. KiwiCo is redefining play with hands-on projects that build confidence, creativity, and critical thinking skills. There's something for every kid or kid at heart at KiwiCo. Get your first month free on select crates at kiwico.com/OHD. That's KIWICO.com/OHD. Dr. Neil here for my commentary. So, how can you do these fantastic arm exercises without dumbbells? Easy. Find anything that you can hold in your hands like a dumbbell. Maybe it's some soup cans or a reusable water bottle. Oh, and if you do use a water bottle, here's a really great trick I borrowed from Dan John. Fill the water bottle so that it's only about halfway to 3/4 full. So when you hold the water bottle, you want to make sure the water sloshes around a bit. That's because when you're trying to perform these moves and the water starts sloshing around, it's going to force you to use a bunch of smaller muscles you didn't know you had just to keep the water bottle balanced in your hands. I'm sure it's obvious, but I'll say it anyway. Just be sure that whatever you end up using, it isn't made of glass. If you end up dropping your newly fashioned dumbbell, it could lead to a pretty dangerous situation. But you can get really creative with some at-home dumbbell substitutes. That way, when this whole COVID-19 thing is over and the beaches are back open and the sun is out, your newly fashioned guns can be out on display too. All right, that'll do it from me for today. I'll be back here tomorrow for the big 1000th episode, which is all thanks to you. So stay tuned for that, where your optimal life awaits.